Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, LS Central SaaS, Offline POS and Cloud. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. My name is Matthias Matthiasson. I'm a product director at LS Retail. LS Central SaaS, Offline POS and Cloud, also known as Hybrid Cloud. LS Central is LS Retail's cloud offering, hosted in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 cloud environment, run and hosted by Microsoft completely, which is a part of the Microsoft Azure environment. We offer full-featured Business Central and the base functionality of LS Central, all in one solution. And the functionality of the base functionality is the same as on the on-prem solution, so there is no change. In LS Central 16.0 next release, we will offer the modules activity, staff management as a part of the subscription options. We can expect 16p in our cloud environment within four or 5 weeks. E-commerce, mobile inventory app, and mobile POS apps are available with a cloud subscription. However, the customer needs to host their own Omni server to get these options. But I'll go into more detail on that a little bit later in this presentation. LS Central SaaS is available currently in 10 countries. We are working on additional 8 countries, which will be available in the coming weeks or months. We have plans for other countries going forward. To keep up to date and see the current status on these clusters or environments, for example, you can see the version of the environment, what time frame we're expecting additional countries, and even countries we're not planning at the moment. This can be found on the localization page in the LS Retail portal. You can see here the direct link above on the page. Hybrid Cloud gives us the ability to have the same POS architecture structure for the cloud as on-prem solution. First releases of our cloud solution, we only offered online POS, where we had our current POS, HTML-based, or some people call web POS, connected directly to the cloud. However, with the offline POS available now, this is the same POS, same technology as we use for the on-prem. You have a machine that hosts a database, Business Central service tier, and then we will be running the web POS. And this is exactly the same environment as you would be on-prem. So there's nothing new there. What's a little bit different is that how we get the data to the POS. This goes through the hybrid cloud component server, and we use the web service to push the data back to the cloud instance, which is an option for on-prem, but not maybe the most used. In addition to that, we are supporting the offline store server, and it supports both online and offline POSes communicating to that server. Hybrid Cloud Component Server makes all of this possible for the LS Central SaaS offering in the cloud. Let's look at that in more detail. You might ask, what is the cost? What kind of license do I need for offline POS? Both online POS and offline POS need a retail device subscription, and you get that from CSP. However, the offline POS needs a dual write license, which is just a typical FLL file, which is used to run the offline POS. Partners can download this, the dual rights license from the Microsoft partner source. For every store in the system of the retailer needs a subscription, needs an offline store SKU subscription. This gives them a data directory license to run, and this is provided by LS Retail. So Hybrid Cloud Component Server itself comes with the solution free of charge. Hybrid Cloud Component Server, which we're going to abbreviate HCCS going forward in this presentation, will be available on the portal for download. There you can find a very much detailed install guide. We put a lot of work into that to make this as smooth and easy, simple, and standardized as we can. We have some configuration packages, and then we have the Hybrid Cloud Component Server EXE. This is a GoCurrent installer. What we're trying to do here is that we're trying to create a simple, standardized way of partners implementing offline POS environment for our LS Central SaaS offering. We want simplicity and standardization. Once you have run the installer on the server, it will then fetch all relevant applications to the LS Retail GoCurrent server as needed. And of course, it will take the newest versions. It will install on that server Business Central service tier, SQL environment, including the POSMaster database. POSMaster database is going to be used to collect information from the cloud instance down to the server onto this database, and then replicate from this database down to each device. A GoCurrent instance will be created on the server to manage the POSes, install and update, manage the POSes. There'll be a data directory instance, and all of these components is what builds the Hybrid Cloud Component Server. As I said before, we aim to have a simple, standardized solution to offline POS. And here you have a screenshot of our installer. It's designed to be simple, so it's next. HCC server is not part of the LS Central SaaS hosting service, so it's not part of the subscription. It is installed and maintained by the customer. It can be hosted in a virtual machine in the cloud, for example in Azure, or into the customer head office environment. So you buy the subscription and the hosting for your head office instance, but you need to manage the Hybrid Cloud Component Server for the replication. So how do we get the data? The first step, and all the steps are defined in the installation guide. And the first step is to set up needed data in the head office database. And we're talking about, distribution location jobs and sub-jobs. So this needs to be ready before you start replicating. The installer inserts a job called HCC Job Sync into the empty SQL database. And what this job does when you run it, it fetches this setup you did, distribution location jobs and sub-jobs into the database. And now you should be ready to replicate your master data down to the SQL. Then you run the initial replication job, HCC init. This is a normal replication job, which fetches all your data down to the SQL database or the POSMaster. And this might take some time, as this is the initial full down replication. Then the HCC server scheduler on the Business Central tenant replicates the changes going forward. It's important to run this regularly, not just once a day, maybe once every hour, every 10 minutes, or as needed, as you want gradually to replicate the data from head office, because the data director that is doing the job here is using a web service, and it's not as fast as when you go directly into a database, log in and pull the data. It needs to go through the service tier. First thing it runs a normal job, fetching all pre-actions from the head office database. Then uses the pre-actions replicated data down to the POSMaster. When this is done, everything is ready to go forward. So the next step is to install the POSes. And here's a very critical thing and part of the simplicity and the standardization of our solution. To use GoCurrent to install all offline POS. So we use GoCurrent. We have a default offline POS configuration included in the package, and it's provided with the standard install. However, partners can customize configurations, for example, have different setups for different POS. They can add their own AL extensions and so on. And what we have here is the full-blown GoCurrent. So it's very important to have a knowledge of GoCurrent, and you can access more information about GoCurrent at LS Retail portal. And here you have a link. So please utilize this into details and give us feedback if there's something missing. First step to create a POS. You need to take a snapshot of the SQL, the POSMaster, to be used in the install of the POS. So you do that by going to the GoCurrent. That will take a copy of the database and make it ready. Then next step is to create a GoCurrent package. And this is a package including the SQL and all that, which can be used to implement the POS. So you run the installer on the POS. The installer will create on GoCurrent agent on the device. This agent will then fetch the packages and install what's according to the package onto your machine. Once you have done that, in the future, it will regularly check back onto the central. Are there any updates? Are there any updates? And then install them. You know this method. It's how you do the updates on the Windows environment today, right? Operating system. So we're thinking a little bit in the same way, but you as a customer control this. So for example, how powerful it is. It'll install the SQL environment and the POSMaster database, Business Central environment and apps, all of LS Central apps, the toolbox, data director, the Business Central modern client as for the back office, and then the LS Central app shell. This is being released for Windows in the 16 release, and this is how we see the POS being run going forward. Please look at that and give us feedback. Or you could just decide to use a web browser or any other configuration specified in the package. So this should give you a POS, full functional POS out of the box. The central server instance is going to be upgraded every month by us. However, it's up to the customer to decide the frequency of the upgrade of the POS. It could be every 6 months, every 12 months, and so and so. LS Retail has not currently decided what will be the longest allowed time period without update. We're talking most likely 18 months or something like that. This can be done in batches, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. So all configurations are done in the HCC server GoCurrent instance. So you do your basic stuff there to prepare the environment and to show you what you can upgrade. So if you want to, of course, update the extension, the executables, and that upgrade of SQL, executable Business Central, LS Central, hardware station, toolbox, post drive and even. So you see this can and should be able to do all the updates remotely on your device automatically and very simple for you. So if we go over a little bit how the GoCurrent works and how we see this happening with the HCC server. So LS Retail will provide our country versions of the solution. And of course, this corresponds with the cloud offering. So here we have 15.3 in the cloud. No, not in the cloud, in the LS Retail GoCurrent server. Let's say this is Danish. So when you install the HCC server for a customer, that installer will fetch the Danish version of 15.3 down to that server. Now that is the application they're going to use for the POS. Then you install the POSes and it will install that version on every POS. And this should be quite easy. LS Retail will regularly update new versions into the LS Retail GoCurrent server. However, it's up to the customer to decide, as I said, the upgrade sequence of the POS. So when they're ready, they fetch the current version when they're ready to update. So they fetch that down to their own GoCurrent server. That is then used to install, for example, one POS, and that's what I'm talking about when I talked about the batch. You can try it on onto 1, 2, 3 POSes. Of course, you want that to be successful, and once you're happy with it, you then do the rest. And then you do this again and again. So this should be as automated and simple as possible. And this is very, very important to us to get this right. Those are the basics of GoCurrent. Of course, in my version and oversimplified. Now you have the HCC server ready. The POSMaster has all the head office data, and you want to replicate from that POSMaster down to the POS. So the HCC server scheduler replicates changes to offline POS using pre-actions. This is just the regular business to you guys that are running offline on-premise implementations. And this is just using Director the way you are using it. It goes into the server through the SQL, fetches the data, creates a packet, distributes the packet to every data director on every device. The director there takes that and pushes it into the SQL. Quick, easy, and fast. Very efficient. This is technology now, so there's nothing new here. A load difference, not the most used. We will have the transaction sent with web services replication at the end of transaction posting to the central. And the reason why we're not using the director is that you cannot access the SQL in head office, so we use web services. This should give you near real-time updates into the cloud and should quite easily support our unified commerce method of things. We talked about Omni Server supporting our mobile and e-commerce. Omni Server can be hosted in the HCC server, and you might run an external version for the e-commerce and mobile loyalty apps, and then internal for the mobile inventory apps and mobile POS app. This is not out of the package. This is something you would need to add. It's not out of the package, meaning it's not part of our installer. You can also host the Omni servers as an Azure app service if you'd rather do it that way. So it's your choice. Onboarding specialist, also known as a buddy. LS Retail Development has created a buddy program. Some of you have been working with Microsoft. They assign a buddy, a contact person, and that's what we're trying to do now to support our partner network and simplify going to the cloud. This is the intention is to resolve in cloud-related technical issues or partner with go live in cloud projects. And the buddy will act as a liaison between the partner and the development teams to resolve these issues. We want to resolve any issues that connect to the cloud as quickly as possible. And this person will assist you and us to have successful projects. So contact your partner manager about enrollment in the program. Hybrid Cloud Component Server release was in 15.3. All our cloud clusters are in 15.3, so you could use it against any implementation in the cloud at the current moment. However, it's only available for partners participating in the Hybrid Cloud program, release program. LS development teams will give additional support to partners that have a go-live project in cloud with Offline POS. And please contact me if you need further information. The goal here is that we want this to be simple and standardized, and we want to kind of field test it with the controlled scope before we release it to everyone. So when we're happy with it, we make it available to everyone. But if you have any questions, please contact me. We want simple and standard processes for setup, implementation, and maintenance to install Hybrid Cloud Component Server and Offline POS devices. And that's Hybrid Cloud environment and offering offline POSes to the LS Central SaaS. So thank you. Thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. If you have any questions, please contact myself by email. You can see my email, matti@lsretail.com. You will also receive a follow-up email in the next few days with a link to view recording today's webinar and other material. Thank you. Bye-bye.